In the previous class, we have gone through the basic definition of Hamiltonian graph and some basic properties we have given in the form of a theorem, and we have solved an example based on theorem 1. In today's class, again we discuss one practical example which is related with the Hamiltonian graph. First, I will write down the question and I will explain in detail about the example. Then I will write down the theoretical description of the solution of a example. The question is, suppose a club has 3 or more odd number of members. These members meet every day for lunch at a round table. It is round table. They decide to sit in such a way that every member has different neighbors at each lunch. How many days can this arrangement last? I will repeat the question once again. Suppose there is a club has 3 or more odd number of members. These members meet every day for lunch at a round table. They decide to sit in lunch such a way that every member has a different neighbors at each lunch. How many days can this arrangement last? See, in this example, we need to construct a cycle in such a way that every day every member has a different neighbors at each lunch. Suppose a member M1 has 2 neighbors, M0 and M2, and this M1 in the next day, M1 has 2 different neighbors again. So how after some days the arrangement lasts? So in other words, again the repetition will take place. Therefore, what will be that number of days is required where the arrangement will last? So to prove this, it is required to have a basic definition of Hamiltonian graph. In other words, Hamiltonian cycle. First and foremost thing is here, the group members is not defined. Whether the numbers are 5 or numbers of 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. But in the very first line, they are given what will be the nature of a number. So the first line is, club has 3 or more odd numbers of members. So therefore, here the group has 3, group has 5, group has 7, and so on and so on. Means the sequence of odd numbers. So therefore, what is my first sentence is the solution to this question. Let n be the number of members in a club. So here I don't know what will be the number in a club. What will be the number of members in that club? There are two we can take. There are 3 possibilities we can take it: 0, finite, or infinite. So I will start with 0. What will happen if I take a 0 member? If I want to represent this example in a graph, if 0 member means there is a null set, means vertex set is null set. So as I told in the very first class that if a vertex set is null set, graph is not possible to draw. So therefore 0 is not possible. And infinite, because we are in very first class, I have clearly told that we deal with only the finite vertex set, means the cardinality of a vertex set is finite. So therefore only we concentrate on finite. Next is, the club has n numbers, but what is the nature of that number? It is giving that it has 3 or more odd numbers: 3, 5, 7, 9, so on and so forth. So therefore I will represent an odd number. This n is odd here. Here n is odd. So therefore n can be represented as 2k plus 1, where k and so forth, because finite, k is also finite here. So therefore if you take any value of k, n represents here the odd number. But this definition is only corresponding with odd number. But k value is not from 0, 1, 2, 2, so and so forth. K value you have to take in such a way that club has 3 or more odd number. Since 1 is also odd number, k has to start with 0. So therefore, if I take k is equal to 0, so then n is equal to 1, which is a contradiction that club has 3 or more odd numbers. So therefore, what will be the value of k now? K is not from 0, k is from 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Because if I take k is equal to 1, n is equal to 3. Since the first line of the question is club has 3 or more odd numbers, so therefore n has to start with 3. Next number is 5, next number is 7, and so on. So therefore now this k will satisfy the first line of the question. Therefore now what will be the n here? Means the number of members in a club is n is equal to 2k plus 1. Now we see the assumptions of this question. What is the assumption? These members will meet every day for a lunch. Suppose I will take a question, I will take an example with 3 members. I will take an example with 3 members. So I will call it as M1, M2, and M3. Here, if you take any arrangement, it will be the same arrangement in every day. If I take, this is my arrangement, M1 will sit right to the M2 and M3. But here the question is about the member has the different numbers every day. Here M1 has M2 and M3 as a neighbor. In the next day M2 has M1 and M3 in the next day, and next day M1, M3 has M1 and M2 in the neighbor's day. So therefore, the possibility of combination of these three members will last in third day. So therefore, if we try to construct in such a way that every day it has different numbers for n number of vertices, how to find out that this arrangement will last in how many days? Means I try to find out the number of days. Since the arrangement is in a circular table, so therefore the arrangement is always M2, M3, M4, so on and so forth, Mn. So the members will sit around the table, so therefore arrangement is always in a circular. So therefore I will connect every member by an edge. If M1 and M2 sit, M1 has neighbors M1 and M2, so they are connected by an edge. So therefore if you see this is one arrangement. In the second day we can reshuffle it. So I can say this is arrangement 1. So there is one more arrangement. I will call it as M4, M5, so on and so forth, because it is a circular table. So it has Mn minus 1. So this is arrangement 2. This is arrangement 2. So when we can get this arrangement 2, when we will get this arrangement 2, it is called edge disjoint Hamiltonian. So if you do the edge disjoint, so then we will get the second arrangement. Then we will get the second arrangement in this way. If you observe this, every time we will get a circular table, every time we will get a cycle. So therefore I will say this arrangement as cycle 1. This arrangement I will say it is a cycle 2. So therefore, if you see the definition of a Hamiltonian cycle, in other words Hamiltonian graph, if you try to find out a path or a cycle which path includes every vertex of a graph. So therefore it is very easy to construct Hamiltonian cycle in this graph. Hamiltonian cycle in this graph. This is also Hamiltonian cycle. This is also Hamiltonian cycle, but this is edge disjoint from cycle 1 to cycle 2. So therefore every time we will get Hamiltonian cycle, then from the theorem we have discussed in the previous class, if I will just read for your reference the theorem number 3, if I am correct. In the previous class, in the complete graph with n odd number of vertices, then there are n minus 1 by 2 edge disjoint Hamiltonian cycles. So therefore, since n is odd, and n is greater than or equal to 3, then there exists n minus 1 by 2 edge disjoint Hamiltonian cycles. Edge disjoint Hamiltonian cycles. So therefore, how many cycles will we get? that is n minus 1 divided by edge disjoint Hamiltonian cycles. So therefore, this is one cycle, edge disjoint Hamiltonian cycle, this second cycle, edge disjoint Hamiltonian cycle. So in such a way, n minus 1 divided by 2 edge disjoint Hamiltonian cycles will get. So in other words, if you speak with respect to this example, we will get n minus 1 by 2 edge disjoint arrangements, means every time what is the nature we have decided here in such a way that every member has a different number. So therefore every time we get different cycles. So the maximum number of cycles will get here n minus 1 divided by 2. So therefore here n we are taking it as odd numbers. So therefore n is equal to 2k plus 1 if you take in this expression, which implies 2k plus 1 minus 1 divided by 2, which is equal to 2k plus 1 minus 1 divided by 2, which is equal to 2k divided by 2, which is equal to k. So now this k represents what here? This k represents that number of days required such that this arrangement can last. So therefore k days are required to last this arrangement, means every member will sit for a lunch meet in every day in such a way that every member has a different number in each day. So therefore this arrangement will last after k days. So this is also one of the application of Hamiltonian cycles. So a number of examples are there corresponding with computer science engineering examples, also in chemistry, so on and so forth. I will end up with this example, Hamiltonian graph. Now I will move to the next important concept called Eulerian graph. A path in a connected graph is an Eulerian path. If it contains every edge exactly once. A connected graph with Eulerian circuit is a connected graph with an Eulerian circuit is called Eulerian graph. So this is the theoretical definition of a Eulerian graph. I'll just again go through the theoretical definition, then I will take up one example based on this Eulerian graph. A path in a connected graph is an Eulerian graph if it contains every edge exactly once. A connected graph with Eulerian circuit is called Eulerian graph. Here I have not defined what is the Eulerian circuit, since if a circuit means starting point and end point is same, then you can say it is Eulerian circuit. So since the word Eulerian is used, it is connected with Eulerian path. So therefore I have not defined that Eulerian circuit in between. If a graph has Eulerian circuit, then that graph is called an Eulerian graph. Here I will take up 3 examples specifically. So then I will try to compare whether all the graphs are Eulerian or not. We will cross check here. So very first graph is, I will call it as G1. I will name these vertices as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So this is one graph. Second graph is, I will name it as a G2. A, B, C, D, E. G3, better to have one graph, anything in the form of a tree. It is A, B, C, D, E, F and G. Okay, so now we discuss for each graph the definition whatever I have given on the board. So first and foremost thing is, we discuss with the path, Eulerian path. Before going to the Eulerian path, first I will again go through the definition of a path. In the previous class, while defining the path in a graph, path is a sequence of vertices and edge. It is simple, vertices and edge. They will never put instruction, or they will never put any restriction on the repetition of vertices or repetition of edges. It is simple, just a sequence of vertices and edge. But here, the Eulerian path, they are putting an information. They are giving a instruction that this path includes every edge of a graph exactly once is important here. Yes, we can construct a path which includes every edge. At that time, vertex may be repeated, edge may be repeated. But here, if a path includes every edge of a graph, but that every edge is exactly once, it is very important here. So based on that, we find out a path that is so-called Eulerian path exists or not in these graphs G1, G2 and G3. For the first graph, I will start with A, B, C, D, E, F, again a C, G. So if you see this first one, the question is every edge exists or not. Since connected between two vertices there exists an edge, so therefore I have not written edge 1, edge 2, edge 3, so on and so forth. So A to B edge exists, yes, this is included, this is also 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 included, because C to G is edge, but G to A we have not included. I will name it as G to A. So therefore, now if you see, this is an Eulerian path. all the edge exist or not? The answer to this question is this path includes every edge of this graph G1. Coming back to the G2, try to define a path A, B, C, D, E, B. A to B, yes, edge exists. B to C, edge exists. D to C to D, edge exists. D to E, edge exists. E to D, E to B, edge exists. So therefore, in G2, the path includes every edge of a graph. So therefore, this path is called Eulerian path. Now, if you construct a path for this first path A to B to C, second path A to B to D, because end exists, so there is no edge which is connected to D, only one edge is there which is already considered. B, third one A to G to E, fourth one A to G to F. If you see any path where the path does not include all the edge of a graph, so therefore these paths are not Eulerian paths. These paths are not Eulerian paths. So therefore, the first definition Eulerian path is completed. So out of 3 graphs, which graph does not have Eulerian path? G3 does not have an Eulerian path. Now we move to the Eulerian graph definition. What is an Eulerian graph definition? Which includes Eulerian circuit. So here circuit means starting point and end point is same. So in path, which path includes both starting point and end point? Out of these 3, this is an Eulerian circuit. This path is an Eulerian circuit. This path is not an Eulerian circuit. So, according to the definition of Eulerian graph, which includes Eulerian circuit, then G1 is called Eulerian graph. This is not Eulerian graph. This is also not an Eulerian graph. So therefore, if a graph is said to be Eulerian graph, which includes Eulerian circuit, that is Eulerian path, every edge exists in a circuit, that is called an Eulerian circuit. Now we try to observe one of important properties of Eulerian graph. If you see graph G3, we can say straightforward G3 is not an Eulerian graph. If I say, for example, if I give any graph, if I ask you to verify whether graph is Eulerian or not, then what is the procedure we'll follow? Yes, we try to follow trial and error technique. That is, we try to find out the path where that path includes every edge exactly once. If a graph is very simple, this technique is very good. If graph includes more number of vertices and more number of edges, at that time it is very difficult to use this technique. Now we need to, what is the other technique to observe whether graph is Eulerian or not? For that, first and foremost thing is, we try to identify the important property of an Eulerian graph. So to go through important property in Eulerian graph, again I will use these 3 examples. If you see the graph G3, the graph has odd degree as well as even degree. Means odd degree also exists, even degree will also exist here. So these are odd degree vertices and this is even degree vertices. In this graph, this is odd degree, this is odd degree, so these two are odd degree vertices. This is even degree, this is even degree, and this is even degree. If you observe the graph G1, every vertex has even degree here. Every vertex has even degree. So therefore, we can observe any one of the important property that if a graph and that graph is with every vertex is even degree, then we can very easily say that that graph is Eulerian. Without doing trial and error technique, that is without identifying an Eulerian circuit, we can directly say that the graph is an Eulerian graph. So this is very important property. What is that property? Now I am going to tell you the property. A graph is said to be an Eulerian graph if and only if the every degree of a vertex of that graph is even. I will repeat it once again. A graph G is said to be Eulerian graph if and only if every vertex of that graph has even degree. Now we prove this theorem or property for any graph. But to prove this important property, I will prove the theorem first by taking a particular example, then I will prove this property in general. The property is a connected graph G is Eulerian graph if and only if every vertex of G has even degree. Every vertex of G has even degree. First, before going through the theoretical proof of this theorem, I will try to explain by taking a particular example. Then based on that explanation, I will try to prove theoretical explanation of the theorem. Again, I will take up a same graph to explain this theorem. I will take it as A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I will take one more graph. A, B, C, and D. So, the meaning of if and only if I will tell you, because this is already gone through in first unit, that is called logic, laws of logic. If and only if means if P then Q and if Q then P. So then both statements together it is if and only if. So to prove if and only if, first we'll assume G is Eulerian, then we prove every vertex of G has even degree. On the other hand, if every vertex of G has even degree, then we'll prove G is Eulerian. So to prove that, first I will explain this theorem using two examples, then I will go to the theoretical explanation. First assumption is G is Eulerian graph. Then we prove that G has even degree. What is the definition right now I have gone through? There exists Eulerian circuit, then that graph is called an Eulerian graph. So to prove that, we need to construct a sequence of vertex edge sequence, that is a path. I will name this as A, B, C, D, E, F, C, G and A. Since if you observe this sequence, because the graph includes Eulerian circuit, obviously the first point and last point, they are same. So if you first point and last point the same means, if this is E1 edge, E2, E3, E4, E5, E7, E8, this is the E8 and this is E1. E1 and E8 will incident with vertex A. Now what is the meaning of it? The meaning is simple. Minimum degree of a vertex is 2. So the degree of this vertex A is 2. So minimum degree of vertex A is 2. This is E1. Since the remaining vertex, I will not say they may be even, they may not be. But since this is a cycle, first cycle, this is the second cycle. So in a cycle, if there is an input, obviously there is an output. Actually, I am sorry for using input and output word. If there is an inlet, if there is an inlet means if there is an edge out of that vertex. In other words, if this is an outlet. So therefore, if an edge is moving towards vertex, that is going into the vertex, then there is exists an edge which is going out of that vertex. So in this way, we can prove that every vertex has even degree. Don't think that only degree of a vertex is 2, it may be 4, it may be 6, it may be 8 and so on. So what will happen in this graph? If D is edge E1, E2, E3, E4 and E5, if edge is moving to the vertex A, means going towards vertex A, then there are two outlets. Either it has to go through E2, either it has to go through E5. So I will assume that it will go out of our vertex A from edge E2. So now one edge is left out, that is E5. If I take E5 is inlet edge, that is input edge, where edge is moving towards A, then that point A, the path will stop. I will repeat it once again. If the path is moving along this edge, when it reaches to the vertex A, then there is no outlet. Means path will stop at that point. It is very difficult to construct a circuit. So therefore, if a edge is moving towards vertex, definitely that vertex has an outlet. So the path will move very easily. So if that inlet and outlet, if you consider, definitely the degree of that vertex is always even. If it is odd, then that path will stop at certain point. I'll repeat it once again. If degree is odd, then that path will stop at a certain point. So therefore, it is very difficult to have an Eulerian circuit. So this is what, if G is Eulerian, then every degree is what? Even degree. Now right now what we prove? If it is Eulerian graph, then definitely it is even degree. On the other hand, if degree of every vertex is even, out of these two graphs, only this graph has every degree of a vertex is even degree. Now we try to prove in such a way that this graph G1 has an Eulerian circuit. To show that graph has an Eulerian circuit, then we can very easily say that that graph is Eulerian graph. It is enough to show that G has Eulerian circuit. So what is the meaning of Eulerian circuit here? The path includes every edge of a graph G, and that is also exactly once. Assuming that G is not an Eulerian here. So we try to prove in such a way that we construct different circuits where that combination of a circuits will form an Eulerian circuit. So to prove this, I will consider this graph because I want to prove the other way. What is the other way? The assumption is G has even degree. We try to prove Eulerian circuit. So to prove that, what we consider here, first and foremost thing is circuit will exist or not is the first question. If circuit does not exist, then there is no question about Eulerian graph because Eulerian circuit should exist. So therefore, if we want to prove Eulerian circuit, then at least there exists a circuit. So my question is, if suppose there exists a circuit, I will call it as a C1. If suppose this is an Eulerian circuit, then what is our answer to this question? If C is Eulerian circuit in this graph, then that graph is called an Eulerian. What I will assume, C1 is not an Eulerian circuit. So C1 stands for a circuit with the path A. Obviously this is not an Eulerian circuit. What I will do, I will eliminate these edge from the graph. So what is the circuit left out? Another circuit left out, C, D, E, F. Now if this is a graph where this circuit includes every edge of a circuit or not? Yes. So we try to construct sub-circles, circuits C1, C2, C3 in such a way that C1 will form an Eulerian circuit for that cycle. If you see the first circle, that is C1, now I will call it as C2 here. It is A, B, C, G and A. So this is also an Eulerian circuit. This is also an Eulerian circuit for cycle C1 and for cycle C2. If you club these two, then it will form a big cycle. It is called a big cycle. So then this cycle includes every edge of a graph. If a circuit includes every edge of a graph exactly once, what is the nature of that graph? So then that graph is said to be an Eulerian graph. Now I will go through the theoretical explanation of a proof of this theorem. Suppose Suppose G is Eulerian. So if G is Eulerian, the meaning is G contains an Eulerian circuit. So therefore, G has Eulerian circuit. That is, and which is of the form V0, V1, V2. So I will represent with H1 also. En V0. Since edge E1 and edge En are incident with V0, so therefore degree of V0 is at least 2. So I will write it. Therefore degree of V0 is at least 2, because Eulerian circuit passes through the vertex because it is a circuit. The degree of vertex is increased by degree of vertex increased by degree of vertex is increased by 2. So therefore degree of every vertex including V0 is 0. On the other hand, suppose every vertex of G has even degree. 1 degree. Let V0 be arbitrary vertex in G. So let C1 is equal to V0, V1, V2, so and so forth, Vn minus 1, V0 is a cycle or a circuit. In both circuit and cycle are same here, so I'll use the word cycle. If C1 includes every edge exactly once, then G is Eulerian. So because the cycle may include every edge, may not include every edge, but if it includes every edge exactly once, then we can say it is an Eulerian. There is a chance that C1 may not have every edge and may not have edge exactly once. So now my assumption is C1 does not have every edge exactly once. In other words, C1 is not an Eulerian circuit. Suppose C1 is not an Eulerian circuit. Suppose C1 is not an Eulerian circuit. Consider the subgraph H is obtained by deleting all the edges in and vertices not incident with edges. So there's no, in the example I have deleted one circle, so which exactly similar to this statement. Note that all vertices of H have even degree. So if this we get even degree, obviously this C1 has also even degree. So therefore combining the C1 in H min and this subgraph, then we can say that big cycle is called an Eulerian circuit. So what is my statement is next the same thing, because G1 is connected, because G is connected, so therefore we construct another cycle for subgraph now. C1 and C2 cycle which is Eulerian circuit. If this is not an Eulerian circuit, if this is not an Eulerian circuit, continue the above process such that G has Eulerian circuit. So therefore G is Eulerian graph. So this completes the proof of important theorem. So in this class we are gone through the one basic example based on the Hamiltonian graph and one important theorem called basic theorem of Eulerian graph. I can say it is a basic theorem because which gives a very important property that even by just seeing observing a graph, by just observing a graph we can conclude that whether graph is Eulerian or not. Because if G is Eulerian graph, then definitely the degree of every vertex is even. If degree of every vertex is even, then obviously we can say it is an Eulerian graph. So therefore very important property in this class we have gone through. So now I stop my class at this stage. In the next class we will go through one more important concept called coloring of a graph in the next class.